जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी भुजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी।
Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Shivarananda Mayapur Sashi ki, Tulsinath Maharaj ki, Shibir Harilal ki, Singha Singhadev Bhagwan ki. So reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, Volume 6, Uniting Two Worlds. Chapter is entitled, I have done my part. After touring the Gurukul facility, Prabhupada had the devotees place his chair down once more before returning to his own rooms. With most of the resident devotees of the Krishna Balaram Mandir, including Gurukul students gathered around him, Prabhupada made his emphatic point. You are thinking of management, he said. This manager and that manager. Bring that person. In Bengali, there is a superstition that you should not live with your head toward the northern side. Sorry, in Bengali, there is a superstition that you should not lie with your head toward the northern side. So one man said, but I have no head. For me, what is the question of keeping it to the northern or the southern side? So your contemplation about management is like that. First of all, who will you manage? Simply considering office manager and this and that is not good. First thing is bring students, then it will be successful. That afternoon, Srila Prabhupada said he would speak to the Gurukul staff. They gathered in his room and he instructed them as only he could. He who was empowered to lead the world organization of Lord Chaitanya's movement. Our next business, he began, is to approach the well-to-do business and tell them, children of your family are expected to be educated with good behavior, good character, and devotion. Chanakya Pandit says, what is the use of begetting children like cats and dogs? They must be learned and follow the Bhakti Marg. We will teach your sons these things. Canvas like that. In the present society, he said, even the Prime Minister's son may be a debauchee. The demon Hiranyakashipu hadn't wanted his son Prahlad to be a devotee, but to be like himself, a cheater and a diplomat. And today's society was comprised of little Hiranyakashipu. But our idea is to create Prahlads. Srila Prabhupada continued, at least 250 students can be accommodated nicely. Throughout India and the whole world, you cannot bring 250 students? What kind of managers are you? I say bring 500. Canvas like this. I fall down at your lotus feet. I flatter you 100 times. Kindly hear me. In this way, Canvas, you have to bring students, not just rooms for management. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Reading from Granth Srimad Bhagavatam. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So, reading from Granth Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 15, entitled The Descendants of King Priyavrata. Text 14 and 15. This doesn't have a purport, so I will just go through the translation and together we can read text 16. Then.
The technical issue, I can't cast it. So you do it yourself.
Okay. Text 14-15, translation. In the womb of Gayanti, Maharaj Gaya begot 3 sons, named Chitraratha, Sugati and Avarodhana. In the womb of his wife Una, Chitraratha begot a son named Samrat. The wife of Samrat was Utkala, and in her womb Samrat begot a son named Marichi. In the womb of his wife Bindumati, Marichi begot a son named Bindu. In the womb of his wife named Sumana, Madhu begot a son named Veervrata. In the womb of his wife Bhoja, Veervrata begot 2 sons named Manthu and Pramanthu. In the womb of his wife Satya, Manthu begot a son named Bhavana. And then in the womb of his wife Tushana, Bhavana begot a son named Twashta. In the womb of his wife Virochana, Twashta begot a son named Viraj. The wife of Viraj was Visuchi, and in her womb Viraj begot 100 sons and 1 daughter. Of all these sons, the son named Satyajit was predominant. That's verse 16. तत्रयां श्लोक प्रेयव्रतं वंशमिमं वीरजश्चरमोद्भव अकरोत् अति अलं कृत्या विष्णुसुरगणं यथा. I'll do the synonyms myself. Tatra, in that connection, Ayam Shloka, there is this famous verse, Prayavratam, coming from King Priyavrata. Vamsam, the dynasty. Imam, this. Viraja, King Viraja. Charama Udbhava, the source of 100 sons, headed by Satyajit. Akorota, decorated. Ati Alam, very greatly. Ketya, by his reputation. Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Suragana, the demigods. Yatha, justice. Translation. Please respond on translation if you can. There's a famous verse about King Viraja. Because of his high qualities and wide fame, King Viraja became the jewel of the dynasty of King Priyavrata. Just as Lord Vishnu, by his transcendental potency, decorates and blesses the demigods. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Within a garden, a flowering tree attains a good reputation because of its fragrant flowers. Similarly, if there is a famous man in a family, he is compared to a fragrant flower in a forest. Because of him, an entire family can become famous in history. Because Lord Krishna took birth in the Yadu dynasty and the Yadavas have remained famous for all time. Because of King Viraja's appearance, the family of Maharaj Priyavrata has remained famous for all time. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 5th canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Glories of the Descendants of King Priyavrata. King Priyavrata ki jai. I'll read the translation once again. There is a famous verse about King Viraja. Because of its high qualities and wide fame, King Viraja became the jewel of the dynasty of King Priyavrata. Just as Lord Vishnu, by his transcendental potency, decorates and blesses the demigods. Raga Vidya Nij Bhakti Yoga Shiksharthameka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharir Dhari Kripam Buddhirya Tamaham Prapadde. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripātamam vande Shri Guru Dintaranam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Again, a very beautiful translation and a very beautiful purport. And it's all very encouraging, enlivening, message giving. Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, they are there to put us into the track of excellence, into the path of excellence, to be ever progressive. Uh, Stagnation in life is no good. Whenever there's stagnation, we are just like stuck somewhere. And when we are stuck, like when we do not move any forward. And it's actually when in life, without good, say, culture or good some sadhana in the background, without some austerity or some good sense and mind control, if we happen to come in a position wherein it's like a stagnation, then we will be very much haunted by negativity and frustration. What to do, where to go, and in that process, then it will lead us further into uh, doing some things or engaging our mind and senses in activities which which wouldn't be very helpful for the development or for peace giving process of our body, mind, and soul. So Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam never encourages us or never puts us in a situation where it's like stagnation. No, they always want us to be um, ever traversing in the path of excellence and always growing up and progressing towards the attaining the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Now, very beautiful purport. Just try to read some lines and see. Within a garden, a flowering tree attains a good reputation because of its fragrant flowers. Actually, Krishna consciousness movement. Uh, this is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as envisioned or brought out by Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Prabhupada, all the acharyas, and they would want to create a society of moon-like devotees. Prabhupada wants us to be like moon-like devotees or um, many moons, many moons. In the sense, um, how much radiance stars can give out. But if there is one moon out, it gives so much of brightness, illumination, and warmth and cool. There's a very good video or discussion between Prabhupada and a social worker in Australia. Sometime I believe in 1975. Please look it up on internet at your convenience later on. So it's on YouTube, a discussion between Prabhupada and a social worker in Australia. So wherein Prabhupada is saying, encouraging the social worker or or the government administration department to support the Krishna conscious movement so that together they could do a lot of welfare activities. And Prabhupada is like saying, you send the youth in here, I will give them engagement. They will take sufficient prasadam, chant Hare Krishna, and engage in activities, and that will make them life sublime, and that will take less of your burden as well. And there's not much money as well needed for this program set. So the social activist, the social worker, he as obvious, he couldn't find any as such faults or anything with the process. But then he said like, uh, who all will come? And anyways, you all are a minority lot. You all are so few. You are all a minority lot. What can possibly be done, or what could you do as such? So Prabhupada said, he says, in terms of percentage, you're very few and very few. So it's a very small percentage. So Prabhupada, being Prabhupada, he instantly replied, well, there's so many stars, but just one moon is there. So in terms of percentage, what is the value of these many stars when there is a moon out? So likewise, we are not in this game or chase of quantification or this quantifying or number. Rather, the expectation is The process is there, sublime process. If someone engages himself in this process, then the expectation is to grow, become moon-like, and one moon is enough. So this is um, the desire, or this is where we should at least pray and channelize our energies gradually, gradually. That's the vision we want to attain. That's the destination say we want to attain. Nothing less than performing pure devotional service, and solely for the pleasure of the lordships, for the pleasure of devotees. And this is where our real saturation of the heart would come about. So similarly, if there is a famous man in a family, he is compared to a fragrant flower in a forest. As there's this English saying as well, right? One rotten apple spoils the lot, sort of. So, likewise, like it's very essential in life who we associate with, who we spend time with, who we take company of. And it's such a core fundamental thing of our existence. When we are giving company to someone, when we are in company of someone, we are giving so much like our valuable time, our physical presence, our mental thought process, and throughout and everything. So, in wholesome, it affects or influences our consciousness. It forms our vision, our understanding of life. And likewise, if we associate with saintly persons through their powerful speech, through their pure and completely surrendered, completely taken the shelter of Krishna, completely dependent on Krishna and being fearless. If we take the shelter of such saintly persons, then all our material attachments, all our material obstacles in life would be cut off. The past might still be there, but it won't hold a strong relevance. And life is to would be then to shape up our future, to shape up our future. And like in the societal dealings as well, we see throughout someone engaged in business. So throughout the year, he runs his say office, his shop, or his factory. But there comes a time when, which is like a peak time, like coming in a couple of months, Christmas would be sales, and people would be so much into shopping, and shops would be so busy. So it's Christmas time wherein they make the most of money. Then in the field of sports and athletes as well, they have their prime time in their career, in their studies, one prime time wherein they want to really make the most of that time, wherein they really want to demonstrate, and wherein they really want to be in the right zone, in the right, say, headspace, and get everything ticked right. So likewise, in our lifespan as well, gradually building a bit of a momentum and coming to this constantly or regularly or daily basis, praying when we chant the holy names of Krishna, trying to develop that sincerity mood that one day I chant in a purified state, in a very pure consciousness. That chanting is like I am sincerely, genuinely crying out to serve the Lordship. I'm crying out to actually attain the lotus feet of Krishna. I'm crying out to have the darshan of Krishna. And that should be built up just like in same like in business, in studies, wherever there's a build up coming and to cash in on that moment. So in our association of devotees, we want to cash in that moment that there come a prime time wherein actually we can stabilize ourselves, we can get our feet sorted and stable in our practice of devotional service and grow further from there on. Never encourage stagnation. Just like we were reading from Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita just now, so much ties in with the translation and purport like the previous translation says, so many kings, and they having their children, such and such their name, and such children, families, their children, and the culture setting about the culture. Likewise, like in the Prabhupada's Lilamrita as well, setting up Gurukul. So laying that foundation, giving that culture for young boys and girls before they really get so much in the center of this material working in material life, encouraging them to take good discipline, routine, lifestyle, and engage in a bit of kirtan, chanting, hearing. Philosophy is not necessarily that can come about at its age or like that, but giving them good engagement and also through values and ethics and culture and morality, getting those values intact. The practice of Krishna consciousness is all to bring about a pure citizen, a pure character. And this is what reading through King Gaya, King Viraja, their lives and all, we can take inspiration. Like in the life of Prahlad Maharaj, just one devotee, Prahlad, in the family of demons, but through his sincere remembrance, through his sincere utmost dependence on Lord Krishna, he's taking complete shelter of Krishna, just one devotee, and he let Lord Nrsimhadev appear, let Lord Krishna appear. Likewise, just one sincere devotee is enough. And the thing is, within our consciousness, we should try to cultivate these prayers that did not expectation is actually from me. This is like for self purification or for my own personal learning. And just like in books distribution, when devotees go and distribute books, such a purifying service. And what is kind of the expectation? To represent Mahaprabhu, to represent Prabhupada, to represent the tradition of Vaishnavas, mm, and be there. And that is the core thing. Just being there and taking books in hand, chanting the holy names of Krishna, and approaching people or whosoever comes. Distributing the books, getting the books out, that's the next thing. And that will happen by the mercy of Krishna. Krishna residing in everyone's heart as super soul will encourage the other person, okay, go forward and take this book. But on the part of our side, is just if we sincerely be there, represent the movement. And while distributing books, we engage ourselves, we engage our mind, intelligence, everything, that we can be a true representative. So Krishna consciousness or never, it's like it tries to free us from this result-oriented mentality, result-driven mentality. And in material world, it's all about results. How much could I produce? How much could I bring? What, how much like sales could be done? What results? What did we achieve out of it? I think Krishna consciousness, it is like our true representation and something that is so purifying for the heart. How can we actually come out of this freedom of results driven methodology of working set? And throughout in Bhagavad Gita, we see like when Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to participate in the war, to fight, to perform his duty selflessly and gradually bringing him up. So there are places in Gita, like in second chapter, text 347, where Krishna tells Arjuna to, you have a duty to fight, you have a duty to perform your prescribed duty. And in through various means, like again in second chapter, in third chapter, Krishna says, give up this lethargy, give up this attitude of slackness, say, and fight, fight for the sake of fighting. Then again, beautiful in second chapter, Krishna says, you need not worry about pious or impious, good or bad, or success or failure, and just fight for the sake of fighting. And further on, Krishna says like, be an instrument in this war. So never ever in Gita, like Krishna is telling or pushing Arjuna that you have to win the war. He's just pushing Arjuna that you have to perform your duty. And that also gradually build it up, come to a stage of selfless duty, and then understand what is your relationship with me. Bring me in the center. And everything Krishna is doing and Krishna will do. But it is this mentality when we keep ourselves at the center or when we take on this doer mentality, then is where all these attachments and worries of success and failure, everything creeps in. And this is where Krishna is encouraging Arjuna or telling him, educating him actually, that you don't fall in this trap, not fall in this trap. Otherwise, throughout life, our is where success or failure, uh, or fame or infamy, and this birth and the fear of death. Life is just about these, say, six things: birth, and then fear of death or fear of losing out. And whatever we do, success or failure, we are so much driven by success or failure. And then, oh, will it give me some name, fame, credits, or will it bring a bad reputation to me? What will my friends say? What will family, relatives, or society and all that? And Krishna is trying to free us from all such attachments or all some worries. If we just take into the shelter and we just need to be a representative of Krishna. And then whatever needs coming in will follow. So just one, just like a moon, one that sincere desire, just desire is needed. And if the desire is there, then everything will come about. When we read the Shishikoran Karma Pursa Shiki, when we read the prayers of Tulsi Maharani in the morning, it is to make us actually a bit more ambitious or to develop that highest desire, not even higher, just the highest desire. More Abhilash, Vilas Kunje Diyovas. So we are not like aspiring for something mundane. The aspiration is to serve the divine couple. The aspiration is entrance in the pastimes of the divine couple, getting some role, some engagement, attainment of Vaikuntha Dham. That is the aspiration. What could be more higher than this? And in order to come about to this aspiration, life has to be molded. It has to be molded. This is why, like, how we actually cultivate and culture and look after children. That is so important. Raising good children and giving them the morality. And like for couples as well, partners as well, understanding the responsibility of this human form of life and how to systematically progress in life. So Krishna consciousness is more about putting in the right efforts, putting in efforts, and again, like we may not be in the right headspace to begin with, but doesn't matter if we are in the company of devotees and if we are engaging ourselves in doing devotional service, then rest everything will follow. Krishna says that you just think about me, and there's so many scientific ways, principles like being prescribed and given, and also in the company of devotees, so much of practicalities given to us, how we can engage ourselves. When we go, say in a supermarket or somewhere, there are generally escalators in supermarkets and places, many places. Now, what is expected? If one just steps on the escalator. He just need to be on the escalator. If one is stepped on the escalator, just hang on to the escalator, and the escalator himself will take him out, provided he is not messing about in there. That's it. Likewise, if we just hang on to the instruction, if we just hang on to the devotee association, and with the passage of time, everything will come about. Slowly, steadily, but surely. And then, once we get that initial nectar and taste and all, there will be encouragement and inspiration, and which will help us take more and more and more. Says because Lord Krishna took birth in the Yadu dynasty and the Yadavas have remained famous for all time. In India, there are many like Yadavas, and some of them actually, when they would meet devotees, they would say, okay, oh, Bhagavad Gita or Hare Krishna, okay, we know we are Yadavas, we are from this clan only, we are from this dynasty, Yadu dynasty and all. So that's good thing. That's some good karma and good some pious or devotional credit that one is actually born in the land of India and also in that clan or in that dynasty. But just having that is not good enough. One needs to train himself a bit. If one should give a bit of a thought and see, okay, if by the will of say providence one has been given birth in that family, then for what purpose? For what reason? To move on a bit further, to excel a bit further. Otherwise, again a stagnation. Otherwise, having again come to this opportunity, but lost chance or missed chance. Life is anyways full of distraction. Wherever, it's full of distraction. But if we can be aware of the distractions, and in the presence of devotees, we can find our attraction towards Krishna. And that is the key to get out of all these distractions. The expectation of practicing Krishna consciousness is to purify our consciousness wholesome and become a good role model. That is what the world is looking for or wanting for. At different levels, we have role model. And the beginning of spiritual science is understanding one's identity. Who am I? Am I this body or something beyond or something other than the body? So that knowledge is a bit more lacking. So if we can be more fixed up in our true consciousness, then the real knowledge will come about more. And with purity in place, other things will fall up in good place. Even Prahlad Maharaj, even though he was born in a family of demons, but because of his constant endeavor, he was never frustrated. So Krishna is there throughout. Krishna is there throughout. We just need to have that vision and we just need to have that faith and a bit of patience. Then we'll see the magic actually working. And that is also a mercy of Krishna. If we do not hold on to that, a bit of, like they say, no struggle, no joy. If we get a bit impatient, oh Krishna, I've been chanting for 6 days or whatever, I've been doing this and that and all, but still this problem is lingering around and all. And imagine, just imagine, we pray to Krishna that Krishna, next week my result is out, and please could you help me get the job interview, the job result is out next week. And I try to prepare myself. For the full week, I will attend the morning program. I will try to be sincere. I will try to do japa and I will try to be attentive. And I try to force myself a bit. And say, in 3 days, the results come out and I get the job. So, wow, that's so good. So, what will happen? We would be creating kind of, because of our conditioned state, we would be creating a space in our consciousness wherein a slackness would come about in the near future, wherein we wouldn't be a bit more learning or taking messages from the practice and from the austerity. We have a problem like after a point in time we take things a bit cheaply or we take things a bit more like familiarity. Oh, I know this. Oh, this is fine. I'm aware of it. I know what more. This is the reason. Like Pandavas, they were put in exile for a good 13 years. And what happened during those 13 years when they were put in exile? Krishna raised their level of devotion. Krishna raised their level of tolerance. Krishna put them in the association of Brahmanas and made them study scriptures and understand the message of scriptures so that they can actually administer and rule properly. And as they said, oh, it's been so long, why so long? Can you cut it down, cut it short? Then in our head, we would be creating this space wherein we would want things a bit more instantly. And we would struggle to appreciate the value of it in the long term. Likewise, human life is a life of responsibility, and those have, individually and within family life, within society life, we all have a role to play. So, individually, we can inspire each other, cultivate each other through our good association, and just by the practice of Krishna consciousness. It need not necessarily be all in one go. And we won't be able to do all in one go, but bit by bit, gradually. The thing is, somehow we need to jump or even walk, even if we baby steps, walk towards the escalator and put our feet on the escalator, and then stabilize ourselves in the escalator. And we are not that far actually. We are in the supermarket. We are in the supermarket. It's just we pretty much know as well where's the escalator. It's just making our way towards the escalator, putting our feet and holding on to the escalator, and no more distraction than not getting tempted or distracted by the worldly name and fame. Then, like we all would be shining moonlight. Okay, on this note, maybe I'll take a pause and any questions or comments.
I have a question about you saying that if a conscious person is free from result-oriented uh, mentality, you quoted some verses from Bhagavad Gita. But then on the other hand, you can see Prabhupada, very often the attribute is for result, very often, very strongly, double the books, often the temples, the travel, so how to reconcile this with it.
Yes. So, surely we want to go out, and it's not like temple president wouldn't appreciate, or the temple or the devotee himself wouldn't appreciate. Oh no, I'm just a representative, and I'm just standing here and I'm trying to distribute books, and people come if Krishna inspires, and the books will go out. So that's not the message, or that's not the attitude. Rather, every devotee he inspires that whatever book he's carrying with him, he would come like empty-handed, give all the books off, distribute all the books off. So surely we want to make devotees, we want to make more temples, we want to make more centers, and whatever we are doing is a double it up sort of thing. But the thing is, what the message is that do not consider yourself the doer. Do not consider that you are doing it and it's that you are the generator of this result, or this result actually depends on you, or you have actually made it happen. We want to make things happen, but taking shelter of Krishna, completely dependent of Krishna. So Krishna is never saying us do not think big. Rather, Prabhupada said, like, chase rhinos, think big. Prabhupada's disciple, Sri Sam Sundar Prabhu. So he went and set this meeting up with George Harrison. So, like Prabhupada said, right, that chase the rhinos. What will happen? See, two things. If you chase the rhino, wow, the world will praise. Hari Bol! done a big job. And say if someone misses out, still, okay, after all, he went for this big shot. He went for this big shot. Like Prabhupada Prana was saying a few days back, when some devotees went to Japan, Prabhupada and sent them to Japan to distribute books and set up centers and set up Krishna consciousness in that. But after some good attempt and efforts, they struggled, they failed, and the authorities made them leave Japan. So fine, they came out, but still they went for that war. They still went for that war. There were some Indians in India, and they were telling Prabhupada, "Oh, your guys went to Japan, but they couldn't do much. They had to return empty-handed." Still, the glories they went for the war. They went for the war. So it doesn't like it is not like do not be result ambitious or do not set those goals that I want to open this many centers, do this many books or whatever I'm doing, double it up. No, thing is we want to do that, but we want to be aware that we are not the doers. We are as an instrument in the will of Krishna and we want to do more. So Krishna, please, this is why we engage spiritual masters, we engage acharyas, that we have these desires. Please let us collectively, individually go towards attaining that goal. Does this answer the question?
Yeah, that's good. Just a small comment that we don't want the result for ourselves. That's what there's many Gitas, verses in the Gita that refers to not wanting the result for yourself, but you want to, as big a result as possible for Krishna and Krishna service. And also there is a stage as well, until you reach that point, you may be very, very motivated. For example, some people may be very motivated to make money, for example. So instead of, if that is that mentality that people have, instead of saying, just give up this, they can again, transform and direct that propensity to make money for Christian service, for example. And by doing that, then one becomes detached and different.
And this is not some in theory. We have so many evidence like Srila Ambarish Prabhu, Prabhupada's disciple, the grandson of Henry IV. So now, what was his requirement? Huh? He was the grandson of Henry IV, the company is still there. He could easily be having a gala time, say, in America. But when he's met Prabhupada, and this is the thing coming from a good, noble family and good culture and raising up. So Prabhupada asked him, okay, you are the son of Henry IV, where is your grandfather? Where is your grandfather's grandfather? And just that slight indication, he got the message that life is too short and I have a long way to go, say, or I have big things to attain. So he channelized, he didn't like shun his company and all. He channelized his energies that whatever by Krishna's grace has been given to me, birth in this higher family and money, let me use it in the service of Krishna. And he's so instrumental becoming in the construction or in the coming about of this temple of Vedic planetarium now. And he's, through his character, he's encouraging other big businessmen in India and around the globe that to fund or have this charity. This is where. So Krishna consciousness, it is not a philosophy to live in the sense. First of all, we need to understand what is it we possess that we are going to live. Do I even possess my body? If I say I possess my body, can I stop my growing up? Why did I have to leave my youth or say childhood? So what is it we possess? Even the breath we are taking, can we claim that we possess it? So it is coming to this understanding that everything belongs to Krishna, everything is Krishna, everything is Krishna's, everything belongs to Krishna. So if something belongs to Krishna, it makes all the sense that it should be utilized in the service of Krishna. Like those doing jobs in some company, they know, okay, who are you? I'm an employee of this certain company. And they know, oh, this is company's property, this microwave is company's, this stationery is company's property. Everything is company's property. Why are you sitting in the office? I'm giving my time, I'm giving my mind, intelligence, whatever knowledge I have to help the company grow. And collectively, we are sitting there to help the company grow. And what do I get in return is remuneration. So likewise, if we understand we are Krishna's, everything belongs to Krishna, so it should kind of make sense that yes, everything should then be utilized in the service of Krishna. It's not a philosophy that okay, leave out or no. It's a physical world. Where can we go living out? If our mind is not sorted and if we leave out abruptly, there will be problems. So it is a physical world of engaging our mind and senses. So this is why Krishna Prabhupada has given the Vedic literature. There is 24-hour engagement where we can engage our mind and senses in whichever capacity, music, arts, in whichever capacity, and gradually experience joy in life. Any further question or comment? Okay, thank you very much for your patient listening and encouragement. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम महापुराण की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदी।
Bhakta, Ashish,